This is vvvvTv.
Welcome to a very exciting other episode of vvvvTv with me, Jorek. And today we have
Elias.
And today I really have to try to curb my enthusiasm a little bit because this topic is really dear to my heart. It's very exciting to talk about logging. Elias, when we say logging, what do you mean?
It's about tracing what your application or your patch is doing. And it's two-folded. So you might, while you develop it, you might have a lot of situations where you want to actually just basically write a statement somewhere and see whether this certain thing executed.
So for debugging purposes?
Exactly, whether it switched into that state or not. But later when you deploy the application or your patch and it's running somewhere, you probably also then want to have information on what the application is doing.
To get a little history of
exactly
of the running state of the app.
It could be because something went wrong, and then you want to maybe figure out what happened before, or it's just to observe, is it doing the right things?
Is it still healthy? And
Yes.
Okay, and obviously it's also about like deciding where do I want to read that information, right? It's like
Yeah. So you have then options to. That's the point of logging. That while you develop it, you just basically put a note there and you just log something, and then later on you decide whether you want to log to file or log into the cloud. Or
because there are like crazy cloud providers that can aggregate all your logs and display them under different aspects, and that will help you just get a better understanding of your running app. Okay, so that's what we mean with logging, and today we want to show you how you can expertly do this in vvvv. How do we go about it? We prepared a little app for that. Operator, can we? Yeah.
it's really just a mock-up, not doing much.
So don't look at the teapot. It's not doing anything.
Yeah, it's just some stride scene. But the point is that in this application, we have two things installed. So one thing is that it's logging something, and it's logging this to a file. And the other thing also interesting is we have a UI already in our exported application, which depends on your needs, but it could be that you want in your actual application to have the option to look at the logs in the application itself. So this is the
two ways to look at the log. We have a file. Maybe you can show the file that's written.
Yeah. Open this quickly. Season 3 demo. I think it's beside the executable and called mylog, or what was it?
Yeah.
Mylogs. So this is what this application is.
So it's basically the same thing within in the UI. In the app is also written to a file.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's probably it for a start. So this is what we want to show you, how you send log messages from your app, and also how you write to a file and how you build that little UI to show in your app.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe let's just shut it down and we go start vvvv.
So the thing is that logging is not something which happens automatically. It's something you need to put into your application. So you need to basically put nodes there which do this for you.
Yeah, obviously only you know what you want to log.
Yeah, exactly.
So we wanted to open this patch.
Yeah, I had it open already here.
That we prepared. Some things that we will mention in a bit.
So
how do we log a message?
Yeah.
That's the first question.
First question, how do we log a message? Easy, it's just the node, it's called log.
Yeah. Maybe zoom in a bit.
Okay.
What does it have? It has a message.
It has a message where I can write something, right? What else does it have? It has a log level. We'll come to that in a bit. It has a category, which we can also look at in a bit. And it has an apply pin, basically, whether I want to log or not.
So that looks like it's currently already constantly logging.
It should. And how do we see this? So basically now we are in our application, we're developing, and how do we see what our application is actually logging? We go here to Windows, and there we have the log view.
Yeah.
And here we see it's already writing out. The log view is smart enough to basically just count up if the last message was the same. But clearly we see also a lot of other stuff here. So if I go back up here in the list, we see a lot of things.
So where are these messages from? Because we clearly did not log them.
So our thinking here by developing this whole thing was that because there are two things. We have the application patch, the thing, or the patch you built, and then of course it's our system which is starting up. And
our system being vvvv
and all its libraries it's using. And if something goes wrong, usually you don't know what is going wrong. So you want to have all the information.
You don't
available.
know whether it's vvvv or it's your app.
Exactly. So that was the basic decision why everything is collected here. Still, we can make out whether it's from vvvv or it's from your application here. But if you look here at the second column, it says either
source,
this or in this case app.
Okay. System is vvvv and app is our user-built app.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe can we clear the view because just to peace of mind.
Just here.
We're not interested in what happens in startup. Now we just want to look at what is our app doing.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe we can stop it from logging all the time.
So we have in the
the apply pin.
This one. Turn it off.
Goes on my nerves.
Yeah, but that's normal. That the log is that a lot is happening here normally. Yeah.
Okay, so let's. Shall we talk about the severity level for a start?
Yeah, as we can see here to the left, we said that this. So when you log a message, you can say what's the level. There's the so it's like a threshold level. So you have critical, error, warning, information, debug, trace. So trace is like the lowest and critical is the highest. And as we can see to the right, here's a UI, which is basically going through these logs or showing them. And here at the very top, we have filters. So
maybe log another first.
If I log it as a warning here, we could now in the UI hide all the informations and just look at the warnings, or we put the informations back in. So this is just some sort of, giving the message some sort of priority, which you need to decide on your own. And
please also show that like this one click to say, look, can we just see all the warnings?
Yeah, I think the tooltip tells you if you go with right click to solo. I just said it was the one, and then I can.
Not interested in any other. I know there was a warning. Can we quickly find that? Also the filter maybe?
Yeah, here you have a search also. It searches across everything. So if I just search for hello, I would only see the hello messages and so on.
The recorder, the difference between the recording threshold and the filter.
Yeah, the thing is, so this is what the UI is showing, but clearly here we see debug and trace, and they are not, they are disabled. And it tells us also change the threshold. So the thing is that here's the logging system. This log node is logging the message, but only if someone is actually listening on that threshold level. So for example, if I would log all the time in the debug, a very low level, if I log now, I see nothing here. Because the whole recorder is not actually listening to debug messages.
Okay.
And this is important to know because the point is here that you don't want, like in your final application, you probably don't want these debug and trace messages, from which there could be many, thousands. You don't want them to happen all the time because it probably hurts the performance of the application. So that's why by default, these thresholds is usually on information level and upwards. So errors, of course, you want to see and warnings, but these debug and trace messages, which you would use while you develop your application and just need to figure out how you go along, they are filtered out. But we can, of course, look at them. So if we put the whole system into this, like if we lower the threshold,
Yeah.
now it would start collecting these messages.
So trace is still not being
In other words,
viewed
if I put it on information, this message goes nowhere. So it's not really doing much.
it's not hurting also.
It shouldn't hurt much. Yeah. If I put it on debug, it's now getting collected and shown in the UI.
Okay, I think
So for example, if I go to trace, then I think even this window, the patch window, will put trace messages. So we see, if I just move the mouse here, do something, we get a lot of stuff.
okay. Yeah. Let's get back. The red dot.
The red dot tells me that I'm now in this not default state, so which is performance-wise not so good. So yeah, we can quickly go back to the default level.
And I mean, it's maybe something that touches a bit later, but this recording threshold is something you can set per sync.
Yes, we will. Yeah, like we saw in the application, we had the UI looking at it. We had a file. The logs were going to a file as well, and both of them could have different thresholds.
Yeah.
But of course, if one is listening to trace calls, then the log message needs to get produced for this one sync.
Yeah. But the idea is you're sending a log message once, but you can have many syncs in the end.
Exactly.
And they can have their own configuration and decide how they look at and display the logs.
Yes.
You don't have to care about how you want to view these things while you're creating the log message. That's something you can decide on completely separately later.
Exactly. This separation is very important. That you, for now, you just care about logging it, and then later you decide how to print out these logs or how to consume it.
A quick note on the category.
Yes. So if we look here to the right, we see already when I here log, let's go back to information. When I log, it had this nice category already, even though I put nothing here. This is a feature of this log node. So it infers, if you don't put any category, so I could put a category here, like episode 3.
Well,
Which, wait, just some category. I log this, I just have that.
I can set it explicitly, but if I don't,
If you
what happens?
don't, it infers the category from the patch it is in. For example, let's say I have a networking part, okay, in your, imagine this would be something deeper in your application, and I just copy this over, and we would log here.
Same message without
Same message, didn't change anything.
No.
I log here, then the category is now automatically set to the networking. It's the name of the patch where it's in.
Okay.
So we have this, and also nice, like I said in the beginning, let me just close this, that sometimes you don't know what's happening, or sometimes you get something here and you want to know where
Does it
happen.
come from?
Yeah.
Like imagine your log is now full of hundreds of log messages, and you see, okay, this is the one that interests me. Where